Religious identity is often fluid, changing subtly or dramatically over the course of one's life. For example, a 2022 survey by the Public Religion Research Institute found that 24% of Americans have converted from one religious tradition or denomination to another. The reasons for conversion vary widely, but they are always deeply personal and sometimes politically charged. At the Religious Worlds of New York Summer Institute, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, and Yoruba Lukumi clergy members shared their own stories of spiritual transformation.
My name is Adrian Dannhauser. I am an Episcopal priest. I pastor a church in Midtown Manhattan, a block from the Empire State Building. So just to give you a little bit of background, I was raised in a very different Christian denomination. I was Southern Baptist in Mississippi, and I always had a strong personal relationship with Jesus and a felt sense of the Holy Spirit. But sometimes my head and my heart didn't line up on all of the theological beliefs. It was a little more of a conservative strain. So the belief that only Christians were going to heaven, for example, or that only men could be ordained. So I found the Episcopal Church in New York City in my mid-20s, around the time that the Episcopal Church consecrated the first openly gay bishop. And this was in 2003, and it blew my mind in the best way possible.
Anyway, so the way that I come to all of this is actually I am a Baal Tshuva in my own way because I did not grow up Jewish. I grew up Lutheran and came to Judaism as an adult and chose to become Jewish. And I did that through the Reform movement, although I did have a halachic conversion, a conversion by Jewish law that involves going to the mikvah, which is a ritual bath. Where you start out clean and you end up Jewish. And
It's a subtle crack on the fact that mikvahs are considered really spiritually pure, but the water's kind of gross.
actually, the Upper West Side mikvah, extremely nice. Extremely nice, gorgeous. So where was I going with this? I was drawn to Judaism for a number of reasons. And one of them was that there's a Jewish way of thinking that is different than what I grew up with. And that is that there's not a single true way to read a text. When we approach our tradition, argument is valued. The Talmud, which developed kind of at the same time as the New Testament was developing, and is our sacred scriptures that come after the Hebrew scriptures. The Talmud records arguments and it records minority opinions. That's really super helpful for seeing different points of view and valuing different points of view. So that was one of the things that I loved about Judaism. I also love all of the home-based ritual. Tonight I'm going to have the opportunity, which I very rarely have, of having Shabbat dinner with my family, because usually I'm working on Friday nights, but I'm on vacation until Monday. So I can actually sit down with my husband and daughter and have Shabbat dinner tonight. But there's a lot of things that you do in your home that you don't have to go to a synagogue to do. And what I grew up with was everything religious that we did was at church. And I love like a Passover Seder where like you do it at your house. You don't need a rabbi for that. So anyway, I really liked that. I love Judaism as something to give to children. I think it is wonderful for children, and I'll refer to Passover again. So the whole point of Passover is to tell the story of the Exodus from Egypt, and to teach it to your children. Although you still have to tell the story even if your children aren't there. But it's based around food. Like, eat this. That represents the bitterness of slavery. Eat this, It all represents, like, how great is that? How smart is that? Like, it's awesome.
Namaste, Om Shakti to all of you.
Namaste.
My name is Vijah Ramjattan, and I recently became a Karma Acharya like this year actually. And I founded the United Madrassi Association. A bit about myself. I was born in a Vaishnavite home in Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean island. My ancestors came from Andhra Pradesh in India, and like Amita said correctly, a glamorized form of slavery in the Caribbean. But they chose to stay in the Caribbean and be who they were. In the town that I grew up in Trinidad, we did not have mandirs close to our home, but we had a Sai center for devotees of Sai Baba. So I grew up as a Sai devotee. And in Trinidad, there was this taboo form of Hinduism, the one that we were told not to look at. Don't eat from those people. Don't talk to the kids of those people who goes to that mandir. And those are devotees of people who worship Kali, the goddess Kali. Of course, my parents were very liberal, so we went to mosques, we went to church, we went to mandirs, but never we went to the Kali's temple, which was called a kovil. Because they dress in yellow, there was drums playing, and there's all these dancing happening. And don't watch when they go into trance, because it will come on you. What's going to happen to you? So we did not do that as kids. Fast forward, we came to the United States of America, my whole family. And through college, of course, I double majored in religion. I still love religion, all forms of religion. And one of my studies took me to Shakti worshiping. And of course, in my town, where I lived in Brooklyn, there was a Shakti temple, a mandir, to the goddess Mariamman that is worshipped in South India. I'm not sure why there's a bass thing happening, but you can hear me. And of course, when I was older, they could not tell me not to go. So I went. Of course I went. And for the first day I went there, I was, wow, I was amazed. I'm like, whoa, I've been missing out this all my life, because there's all these drums playing and all these musicians singing, and the best part was people were going into trance. And more importantly, they were putting fires in their mouth, and they're dancing in this wild ecstasy, and they're calling it the Divine Mother. And even more interestingly, there were lines and lines and lines of people lined up to receive the blessings, the healing, the cleansing of the Divine Mother. Of course, guess where I went? On that line. I went on that line, I'm like, wow. And the first thing the Divine Mother said to me was, I've given you enough time to have a great time, but now is my time. You have explored enough. I've allowed you to experience the world, but from today on, it is my time. That you will serve me to the fullest, and you will wear my garment.
Good morning, or good afternoon, no, not yet, good morning. I'm Iyalorisha, I'm Oloriwaa. I am a priest of Guatemala. I was initiated in the Bronx 36 years ago. I have been on this journey much longer than those 36 years. When I came into the world, I think that they say that we pick our destinies before we're even born. And I think I'm a bit of a testament to that. And the reason that I say that is because I was raised a very nice, innocent Catholic girl. My Catholic sister over here. And I knew that there was something about me that was different than all of my other friends. I was very drawn to church. I was in church all the time. I was an altar girl. I just needed to be in church. And I said to my mother one day, I said, Mommy, I think that I'm going to be a nun. And my mother said, well, do you know what nun means? Come on, though, get the joke. And when she explained to me that it would mean that I would not have children, I would not get married, I would not do these things that all of my friends, and I talked about all this time, I said, well, then there has to be something, because there's something here, and I don't know what it is. But there's nothing in the Catholic Church that is answering this call that I'm feeling, this draw that I'm feeling. And it wasn't until I was about 12 years old and we moved to a new development that I met a young man who was the son of the directors of an African dance company. And I always wanted to dance, and I had gone to Ailey, and I was taking classes at Ailey, and then my breast came in. And they said, well, you won't fit. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do about that? So all of these types of questions about what am I supposed to do with my life? What am I supposed to do with this body? What am I supposed to do as this spiritual person that I know that I am? And none of these things that I've grown up in are answering this call. So I was on this very thirsty journey to find out what exactly did any of this mean. So when I met Gregory Entz, whose family were directors of International African American Ballet, he brought me to one of their performances, and when I tell you, if my head could have exploded, there would have been brain matter all over the room. I could not believe. It was like life-giving affirmation that this is it. I still don't know what it is. I still have no idea what you're talking about, but something about those drums, something about these chants, something about this movement is pulling me. And so I started taking dance classes. And when I started to take the African dance classes, started seeing people in white, started seeing people with beads, started hearing people speaking this very strange language. And I'm like, okay, it's nothing I ever heard before. I have no idea what's going on, but it's interesting to me. And I kept going to dance class. And after a few months, when I was very serious about it, I got possessed in dance class. Not fun.
Not in a ritual setting.
Not
in a dance class.
in the middle of a dance class. I possessed one of my ancestors. Fortunately, there were people there who were already part of this tradition that understood what was happening with me, and they gathered me and said, okay, we're gonna take you from over here and we're gonna move you over here, because evidently something's happening. And that's when I started on my path to divination, to find out exactly what was going on, because it kept happening. And of course, not being in a ritualistic space, this is not what's supposed to be going on, although it was supposed to be going on, but that's quite big. So I ended up, long story short, I did end up meeting my guides, my godparents, who eventually initiated me into the religion. And it was, again, something, I think you mentioned rebirth earlier. It was definitely a rebirth for me.